Hello, Dr. Gimmler here. I'm gonna show you how to do a medicated bath, how I would do it on my own dog, Blanche. This is my darling Blanche. She is an 11-year-old kind of Terrier Maltese mix. She has allergies, which I treat her for, but right now she's kind of flared up. Take off her sweater, take off her collar. So I'm gonna see if I can help her skin condition just using topicals so I don't have to put her on systemic medications. So let me show you what's going on. See these black spots all over her belly? Those were all little spots of infection. And then the active ones are like, might be hard to see, but there's some little red bumps that are turning into whiteheads that are more active spots of infection. So we're gonna see if we can take care of her infection using topical medicated shampoos, because I'd rather not have to put her on antibiotics. I'm gonna bathe her in my kitchen sink because she's a small dog and it's easier on my back if I can stand up and use the kitchen sprayer as a hose. Bigger dogs, you don't have to do in the bathroom or outside, but I've got my apron on. I've got my tub of grooming supplies over here and a couple of towels. So I'm ready to get started. We're gonna start by getting the water, not hot, not cold, just kind of like room temperature. You want it to be comfortable, but hot water tends to make dogs more itchy because it can dry out their skin. Whereas the cooler the water is, the more likely it is to be kind of soothing to the skin and anti-itch. Take off my watch too. Waiting for the water to get warmer. Winter, so it takes a minute. Poor Blanche, she's just here shaking. She gets so nervous. I know, babe. Okay. There we go. So I'm gonna get her wet all over. She likes to do a lot of shaking when she gets wet. Hey, Winston? No. Sorry, there's other dogs in the background. Okay, so the water has warmed up. We're gonna get Blanche wet all over. She likes to do a lot of shaking whenever she gets wet. Generally, if you kind of steady their head and neck area, it stops the shake from progressing all the way down the body so that you don't get soaking wet trying to bathe your dog. Blanche's coat, she has kind of a unique fur. It's very thin and wispy, so she gets saturated with water pretty easily. Some dogs have thick fur that's very waterproof, and you really have to get the water right down onto their fur before it soaks all the way to the skin. Blanche has always been kind of a little half-ball dog, so she saturates pretty easily. I'm gonna get her face wet too, because she gets a lot of tear staining under her eyes, and Blanche has no teeth. She has severe dental disease and had to have all her teeth removed, so her tongue always sticks out on her left side, so it's always really brown stained from the saliva. So I'm gonna try to clean that area up. I'm gonna start with the area that's infected because I want the medicated shampoo to have contact time, so there's actual time for the chlorhexidine that's in the shampoo to kill the bacteria. All right, so I'm gonna put some in my hands and get it on her belly where the sites of infection actually are. Okay, that is nice and lathered. Go ahead and get it. Oh, it's on her chest too. I didn't notice that before. So we'll get some more shampoo. We'll get it up on her chest and her armpits. All right, so she's pretty well lathered underneath now. Now I'm gonna move to her other general trouble site, which is her paws. She licks her paws a lot and she gets a lot of infections on her paws, secondary to her allergies. So you can see I'm lathering it up on the top and bottom of her paws, and then I'm taking my thumb and forefinger and massaging the shampoo in between each of her toes. There's like webbing in between each of their toes, so I'm massaging the shampoo into there. Because a lot of times in between the toes is where the infection is the worst. Because that's just a dark, warm, moist environment when they're licking their paws, and it's a perfect breeding ground for bacteria and yeast. Okay, front paws are done. Let's get a little more shampoo. We'll do the same thing on the back paws. in between each toe. And her back legs can be a problem site too, so I'll massage the shampoo up her back legs as well. Okay, in between the toes, up the back leg. And lately, her anus area has also been red and itchy, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the shampoo there too. All right. Okay, all the areas where I suspect she has skin infection now have medicated shampoo soaking on them. Next, I'm gonna use a whitening shampoo. They usually look blue like that. Stop it. To help get her coat a little bit whiter, especially like around her mouth where she has all the discoloration. Now the top part of her body kind of dried off while I was working on the underside. So I'm gonna get her wet again and now do the blue shampoo. Some people are really worried about getting water in the ears. I don't worry about that so much. My dogs are not predisposed to ear infections, and getting a little bit in there of water in their ears has never caused them a problem. Really, a normal dog should be able to get water in their ears, say if they go swimming or something, and not have it lead to problems. If your dog is very predisposed to ear infections, then you may want to put some cotton balls in their ears if you feel like water from baths really exacerbates their ear infections, but otherwise, as long as you're not spraying the water directly into their ears, it's not usually that big of a deal. Okay, this is always a little bit tricky for me I want to get the whitening shampoo right here underneath her eyes where it gets discolored from tear staining, but I'm trying pretty hard not to actually get it in her eyes. Get an eye boogie off there. So I'm using my finger to kind of just spread the shampoo and work it in. And I'm holding onto her muzzle like this to keep her head still. Whoa, I'm sorry, baby. She slipped, sorry. Okay. And now I'm working it around her mouth, this left side of her mouth where her tongue sticks out. I'm trying to clean that area up a little bit. Oh, Blanche, my darling Blanche. She's a mess, but I love her. All right, I think now we've gotten everywhere. See, that water was a little too warm. Okay, this feels more like room temperature. Clean that up. Okay, now I'm gonna start washing it off her back, where I care about it the least. And I'm gonna wash it off of her big problem areas last, so that it has the most contact time and medicated shampoo as possible. It's getting too hot. All right, now I'm gonna wash her face. And basically I'm pointing her head downward. That way I don't squirt water directly up her nose. She never likes having her face washed off, but I got a bunch of shampoo on her face, so it has to be washed off. Okay, sorry, there you go. I know, shake it off. All right, I'm gonna wash her feet. I'm gonna wash the other foot, bring it on back, wash underneath the tail. Back leg. Her hair is you can see the black spots on her back because her hair is basically see-through when she's wet. She looks like a little baldy. Okay, that back leg. Okay. Now her belly has kind of gotten washed off pretty much just from runoff from washing her back, but I'm feeling with my hand underneath. You can feel when there's still shampoo there, it feels kind of slippery. All right. Are you all washed off? Feels like it. Okay, water is off. Now I'm just gonna run my hands over her and kind of squeegee out the water so that's easier to dry her off. Okay. I'm gonna hold up a towel and let her shake. There you go. Do a little drying. Start at the head and work down. If you have a really short-haired dog, like a pit bull or a Weimaraner or something that has like really short hair, if you do a lot of back and forth scrubbing like that, it can cause their hair to break off underneath their skin and act kind of like a splinter, and they can get little bumps all along their back that can get infected. So for those dogs, I say to do more of a squeegee, where you just put the towel like this and go just kind of one direction all the way down. But Blanche has fluffy hair, so for her it's not really a problem. I can just can dry her off any way that works. I like to grab each paw, kind of wring the water out from there. Make sure I got your underneath. Okay, now I'm gonna do a leave-in conditioning spray, just because her coat tends to be kind of dry and it gets tangled really easily. This is not really like a medical concern, but it's just easier to keep her looking good and soft and tangle free with a conditioning spray. Okay, let's kind of brush it through. She's been shaved down fairly recently, so her hair is very short. It definitely makes it a lot easier to groom her. Her hair, because it's so fine and wispy, it gets twisted up into mats really easily in her armpits and in her legs. So sometimes it's easier if we just keep her short. Okay, my dear, let's see. Now I'm gonna follow it up with a hydrocortisone spray on her paws, since those tend to be itchy areas for her. I'm gonna kind of saturate the paw and rub it in with my hand. I don't need to wash my hands afterwards because I don't want to absorb the steroid spray. Hydrocortisone is fairly a mild steroid, so it's unlikely to cause a lot of side effects. Certainly safer than using steroids by mouth or steroid injections that affect the whole body and cause stomach problems. I'm not going to put the steroid spray on her belly or chest because that area is infected. I wish I had an antibacterial spray to follow up with, but I don't have one right now. So we'll see if the medicated shampoo is enough. And if that doesn't take care of it, I can bathe her more often, or I could get another product like a mousse or a spray that has chlorhexidine, the antibacterial in it. But for now, hopefully this helps. You still feel a little bit wet, so I'm gonna dry her off one more time, and hopefully she'll be looking better soon. See you later, guys. Bye.